Sunbelt fans, hopefully you checked out the scores and the matchups that are coming up today. In a little bit longer of a video right now, we're going to take a look at what needs to happen for them to get to these secondary matchups and who they could match up against. So obviously, Louisiana would have to take care of Miami, which isn't going to be easy down there in Coral Gables, but they have yet to meet each other, so this will be a new experience there for both teams. Obviously, Miami is going to be a little bit of a favorite there playing at home. Not an easy game for the Cajuns, but hopefully after their slow start to start this tournament out against Texas, they can get back into form and continue their winning ways there against Miami. Coastal Carolina, their rematch with Rider should be a little interesting. They had a little bit sluggish of a start at home there. Started rounding into form towards the end of that game, but Rider just held on there in extra innings. This will be a tough matchup, but in a good note for Coastal Carolina, it's always hard to beat the same team twice, and Coastal's playing at home. They should be favored this time around against Rider. Maybe Rider has come back down to earth. Coastal Carolina's rounding into form a little bit, and we'll see who they would match up against if they make it through this afternoon's early game. Southern Miss and Samford, this one's a little bit similar. They already played once this tournament, and they really took a little bit of a surprise. That whole section of the tournament has been surprising, with Penn really coming out on top. Samford being a very close, maybe second as a surprise team, because the other two obviously favored with the host already being out. Southern Miss has every opportunity to take advantage of that, but they do have to get by a feisty Samford team first. And then we've got BC, Boston College, matching up with Troy for a second time. It was a pretty close matchup the first time around, but Troy's bats are still going pretty strong, as you can see behind me here, against Alabama. Ultimately, they did lose this game, but they still scored 8 runs. We can see if they can keep that going against a tough BC team. So, if these teams win earlier today, we will have some more matchups late this afternoon or this evening, as it may be. We could have Coastal Carolina going up against Duke down there at home. That would probably be the top matchup as far as the Sun Belt is concerned. Duke looks really strong so far, not playing too far from home. It's about a 3-hour drive from Duke to Coastal, so they could have a pretty good contingent down there. We'll have to wait and see if that even becomes a possibility. Hopefully, for Sun Belt fans, it does. We could have Louisiana rematching with Texas as well. It was only a 4-2 game the first time around. Again, Cajuns kind of rounding into form here lately. Let's see if they get past that first matchup against Miami and could rematch up there with Texas this evening. That would be a 6 p.m., 5 Central Time start, as well as the Duke and Coastal Carolina game, again, if those are the possible matchups. And then another really interesting one that could be possible tonight, much later, 9 p.m. Central, 8 Central, 9 p.m. Eastern start. If Troy gets past Boston College, they will rematch up against Alabama. Could be a very interesting game, as we already saw a heck of a matchup last night. Troy could have taken advantage of, struggled to kind of put it away there towards the end. See if they could get that rematch and probably feel pretty confident going into that one if they get there this evening. At the same time, we'd also possibly have Southern Miss going up against Penn, who has certainly been the surprise team of this tournament. Penn yet to lose a game. So let's note here that if the Sun Belt teams take the first games early this afternoon, possibly win these late games, they would have to wait until Monday to finish this out, because it is still a double elimination tournament. So most of these teams haven't yet lost a game, which would mean the Sun Belt teams would have to win 2 games straight against them in order to advance to the Super Regionals. Should be really interesting days worth of baseball. Be sure to check it out both on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus for all the Sun Belt matchups this afternoon.